Good evening and welcome. I'm Vincent Makori. This is Africa 54. Well, America's largest city is electric at the presence of Pope Francis. The pontiff received a warm welcome before addressing world leaders at the United Nations headquarters in New York Friday morning, calling for international action and cooperation to combat climate change, poverty, and to help refugees fleeing conflict and persecution. The 78-year-old leader of the Roman Catholic Church also reiterated his belief that wealthy nations have a moral obligation to aid their vulnerable, disadvantaged members of society.
I must renew my repeated appeals regarding the painful situation of the entire Middle East, North Africa, and other African countries, where Christians, together with other cultural or ethnic groups, and even members of the majority religion who have no desire to be caught up in hatred and folly, have been forced to witness the destruction of their places of worship, their cultural and religious heritage, their houses and property, and have faced the alternative either of fleeing or of paying for their adhesion to good and to peace by their own lives or by enslavement.
Well, a strong believer in climate change, Pope Francis says more has to be done to protect the environment.
Para todas las creencias religiosas,
in all religions, the environment is a fundamental good. The misuse and destruction of the environment are also accompanied by a relentless process of exclusion. In effect, a selfish and boundless thirst for power and material prosperity leads both to the misuse of available natural resources and to the exclusion of the weak.
Well, for more on the pontiff's address at the United Nations, we go live to VOA's Margaret Besheer, who's standing by at the UN. Hello, Margaret.
Hello, Vincent.
Yeah, what a day it was there. Can you give us a sense of how it felt like inside the UN building?
Yeah, what a busy day. It started before sunrise when the UN raised the Vatican flag for the very first time, just at daybreak today. And the pontiff arrived here in his little black Fiat and was welcomed by several hundred UN staffers in the lobby. And in fact, they participated in a lottery in order to be selected to be there to welcome him. Over almost 5,000 staff members entered the lottery, and only about 500 were able to be in the lobby because they didn't have enough space.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was very competitive. Yeah. People were excited. They were talking, I got a ticket, I got a ticket. You know, people were very excited about it.
That was like winning a lottery. Now, question, Margaret. You know, the Pope spoke about things that people expected him to speak, and we know this is only the fifth Pope to visit the UN General Assembly. What was significant about this? What makes him speaking about those things at the UN different and unique?
Well, actually, he's only the fourth Pope to visit. We had 2 visits from John Paul II, so that gives us 5 papal visits, but 2 from the same Pope. I think he's very different. I was here in 2008 when Pope Benedict came, and it wasn't at all the same sort of excitement that we felt today. Really, I mean, for weeks now, people have been excited. And I think it's because this Pope is much more, as they keep saying, a a people's pontiff. He relates so much with the poor and with the middle classes, whereas Benedict was more of a theologian. He was much more academic and cerebral, so he didn't quite connect with the everyday man on the street, so to speak. So Francis has really gotten a lot of enthusiasm, and especially here at the UN, because think about it. Think about all the issues that he talks about: climate change, poverty, fighting social injustices, human rights. These are all issues that the UN deals with every day. And so the staff here really can feel a connection with him, I think, that he's somebody who is advocating for these issues. Even the Secretary General said the other day, I count on his leadership. So it's there's a real connection, I think, between this Pope and the UN.
And I was talking about the streets. It did actually hit the streets soon after leaving the UN building. What are some of the events that he's participating in today?
Well, he left the UN at around 11 o'clock local time and went straight to Ground Zero, the site of the September 11, 2001 attacks, where they have a memorial. He specifically asked to visit that. It wasn't on his schedule. He made it his express wish to go there. And he's also going to say Mass tonight at a large indoor arena for, I think, about 20,000 people. And he's going to pass through New York's Central Park. And about 80,000 people have gotten tickets just to line the route of his convoy, of his motorcade. So people in New York are very excited. There are about 5.5 million Catholics, Roman Catholics, in New York City. So I think that he's going to have a huge turnout today wherever he goes.
Well, the rest of the world leaders start addressing the UN General Assembly next week. Did he take the thunder out of all the events of next week?
No, I think he was a great way to sort of kick them off. And he also encouraged a bit of reflection, and, maybe leaders will think about it. He, talked about the Middle East as you played that clip. He also named several conflicts in particular. He mentioned South Sudan. He mentioned the Great Lakes region, Syria, Ukraine, Libya, Yemen. He wants the Security Council basically to overcome their differences on some of these issues. He sort of said those who are in charge of international relations should, act beyond their partisan interests. So I think that was a little bit of a swipe at the Security Council. So let's see if this re-energizes this year's UNGA.
Okay, Margaret, thank you very much for your reporting there. VOA's UN correspondent Margaret Besheer reporting live from New York.